Everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, we are back in again with another Marvel Legends shelf tour video. And this is going to be part 6 of the 5-part series of me showing off my Marvel Legends shelves. Guys, I'm super excited. The last one we did was part 5. That was back at the end of 2024. So it's been a couple of months since we have done a shelf tour video of me showing off my Marvel Legends. But I'm really excited. The last one we did was at the end of 2024. And I've, rearranged my room. I've reconfigured the shelves. I've gotten a lot more Marvel Legends since then, and I'm having more. I already have so many on pre-order. Slated for later this year, and the shelves are only going to get bigger. But there has been a lot that has changed to my Marvel Legends shelves. I've definitely gotten a lot more since the last shelf tour video at the end of 2024. So guys, sit back, relax, and let's just get into the Marvel Legends shelf tour. Okay guys, we're going to be starting over here in my Infinity War area. As you can see, there's been a lot that's changed. The point out the ones that have, that are new here on my Infinity War shelf are of course the 3-pack with Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Thanos. That was I think it was the Marvel Studios 100th year anniversary, I think, or it was the 10-year anniversary. I'm not sure, but it was part of that 3-pack that came out a couple years back. So I got that, which is very cool because I needed an accurate Iron Man, Strange, and I've been wanting a Thanos, so I was so glad that Thanos came in that 3-pack. The other new figure, of course, is the Iron Spider, and as you can see here, this, of course, is Peter's suit and, of course, Spider-Man Homecoming. So I was like, it'd be really cool to kind of put the Homecoming suit here before he gets the Iron Spider suit. So that's why that figure is there. Funny enough, I'll mention more about that Peter Parker Tom Holland head. That actually went to a No Way Home figure of the red and black suit, which I'll talk about more later where that figure is. But I thought that head sculpt really fit. Kind of like the way Tom Holland's face looks here. It looks very much like Homecoming and the way his hair is styled, kind of to the earlier films of Spider-Man, of his trilogy. So I was like, it'd be really cool to put that head sculpt on that body. So that's what I did. But some other figures that are new here, of course, is this Bucky Barnes. This came in a 2-pack with the Falcon. I just picked this up, I want to say this past week, at one of my comic shops, and I actually had a stand-in Bucky from, of course, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I had that Bucky there as a stand-in until I got this figure, and it turns out that the same Falcon figure you guys see here, back here, is the same one that I had there in my last couple shelf tour videos. So it's actually not a different Falcon. It's the same Falcon that I got when it was loose, but the other loose figure Falcon is actually in my other shelf, which I'll talk about in a minute. So they're definitely not, they're the same Falcon figure. I just realized that. Going on to my Endgame setup, not much has really changed here. I don't think I've added any really new figures here. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also have the, Killmonger figure in here, because there's a lot of people that wondered if Killmonger survived, would he have been in Battle of Wakanda in Infinity War, because of course Black Panther 1 took place before Infinity War, and I do think that Killmonger would have been in that battle, so I kind of have Killmonger there, and I also have, of course, Bruce Banner right there as well. So like I said, there's been a lot of upgrades here. The only things I really need are Thanos' children, and I just need the Outriders, which will probably go somewhere here. Once I get the Outriders, I'll probably do some rearranging to fit Thanos' children up there. I have a comic shop that actually has Thanos' children that I'm actually looking at. But going on to the Endgame stuff, like I said, not much has changed here. Kind of the same setup that I had before. The only new figure I probably could think of that maybe I didn't mention before was probably, I want to say maybe Wasp, but I think she was mentioned before in my last, my last 2024 part 5 for my shelf tour. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys will have to let me know. Of course, this is my new Avengers. I got She-Hulk since then. I don't know if I had her in my end of 2024 shelf tour video, but She-Hulk is in here. I of course have Clint and Kate Bishop here, and I of course have the N-Swing suit there, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, and Captain Marvel. I'm pretty sure I showed you guys those at the end of part 4, but I think Clint, Kate, and She-Hulk are the ones that are new here. Really cool. Going down to my kind of Winter Soldier / Civil War / Captain America Brave New World. This is kind of like the Cap shelf for the Cap trilogy movies. I thought it'd be really, really cool. These, of course, are new additions. The Sam and Joaquin Torres figure. I'm really, really glad that I got these figures. Even though I really wasn't a huge fan of Captain America Brave New World, I really, really like these figures. As you can see, you guys knew that I had the Stealth Suit Cap. You guys knew that I had the, Black Widow. I have the Civil War caps, kind of Civil War Iron Man. It didn't come in that wave, it was kind of separate, but Civil War Iron Man, Bucky in the back, and then of course that is the other Sam. I don't know if you guys can tell right there, but there's Sam, the same Sam that is up here, so that's really, really cool. Going on to this, we'll go here. This is kind of like my MCU Thunderbolts. This is really, really cool. I'm glad that I did this. The only one I'm kind of really missing is just Taskmaster and Ghost. Like, those are really the only ones I'm really missing here. This is kind of how I wish the Thunderbolts team would have looked. With, Zemo, Red Hulk. The Red Hulk figure here is the only really new figure, and also, I believe Yelena wasn't on the shelf at the end of 2024. So really, all the other figures you've seen before, they were actually on my villain shelf, but I moved them up here to kind of make my, Thunderbolts team. But like I said, the real big new one here that I did not show, I believe, was, of course, the Red Hulk. Like I said, I haven't watched that 2024 video in a minute. I'm just kind of speculating the ones I think I haven't shown, but have shown. But I think the only one that I haven't shown here, of course, was the Red Hulk and Yelena. I don't think I showed those off, especially them in the Thunderbolts. But I'm very, very proud of this shelf. This shelf looks pretty cool. Going on, of course, to the Midnight Suns. This is cool. Not much has changed here. I'm pretty sure I've shown you Man-Thing in the back. I think he was at the end of 2024 shelf tour video, and that's pretty much it. That's really, really new here. I think if I'm correct, Logan was in the front of that video as well in the Midnight Suns in the last video. If not, he's kind of the only really new addition I've added to my Midnight Suns, because I'm pretty sure Man-Thing was in the 2024 video. Going on, of course, to the Spider-Man No Way Home / kind of like Sony-verse Spider-Man shelf / Spider-Man No Way Home shelf. This is kind of like just a big thing right here. I'm going to be adding more villains in here. Eventually, I'm going to get the Green Goblin, like William Dafoe's, Green Goblin. I'll probably get the Lizard eventually, but I thought if anything that made sense. I like the idea that, Venom is in this shelf. Of course, this is the Venom from Let There Be Carnage. I've shown that figure off, I believe, last time. If anything, that figure, my Jamie Foxx Electro, and also the Spider-Man No Way Home red and black suit. That is the figure that actually had this head sculpt, this Tom Holland's Peter Parker head sculpt. But like I said, I just felt like for the way he looks here, I just feel like this looks more like Spider-Man Homecoming. He looks very young here, so I was like, that would be perfect to put it on there, especially with the hairstyle. But I really like this shelf. I'm not gonna lie, it was a real pain to get that Jamie Foxx Electro Electro accessories. It was really, really hard to get those on him. Apparently it has C clamps or C cuffs. I think they're called like C clamps, like they're like for his wrist. I did not notice that. There were so many videos I watched trying to figure out how people were able to get the, the electricity effects, the accessories to actually like work and for him to actually hold them, but I figured it out. So I really do like this shelf. This is really, really cool. And I'm going to add more to it. Of course, this is kind of like my Loki / multiverse shelf with, Deadpool and Wolverine. You guys have seen the Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm pretty sure I had them last time. I don't know if I had him holding the Secret Wars Cap Broken Shield last time, but I have him holding it this time. And this is going to be fun because for the people that watched my end of 2024 video, it's going to be interesting for you guys to go back and see, what I got right, what I didn't get right, of the things I thought were new. Like I said, it's been such a long time. It's been since last year, since my last shelf tour video. So it's going to be interesting for new viewers, but also old viewers to go back, check that video, and see what I actually was correct on, what was new and what was old. This is pretty much the only new figure I have here on the shelf. This, of course, is the Loki and Tesseract 2-pack. Very, very glad I got this Loki. I pretty much have all of the Loki figures now from the series, at least from season 1. I'm still hoping that they make some season 2 figures, but as of right now, I have all the Loki figures, but this is the only new one that I've gotten. Of course, we have Kang the Conqueror right there in the back holding Iron Man's helmet. Of course, that's the same Iron Man helmet that belongs to my Civil War Iron Man, so I thought that kind of made sense for him to be holding that. This isn't new. Thor Love and Thunder shelf. This, of course, is my MCU villain shelf. Nothing really new here, same stuff. And of course, this is my Eternal shelf. So that is all the stuff here that you guys can see from my MCU collection. There is more to come. I have some Thunderbolts I'm going to be pre-ordering this May. I believe on May 1st is the Red Guardian and Yelena Thunderbolts 2-pack. And I think it's also May 8th on my birthday, or it's the 9th, is the John Walker U.S. Agent, and also, John Walker, aka U.S. Agent, and also Sentry. That's going to be a 2-pack that I think releases, the pre-order goes up on my birthday. So those are going to be coming in probably later in the year, and those will be up on the shelf. I expect more updates on the MCU shelf. Guys, we're about to go on to the first comic shelf out of 2. All right, guys, let's do it. Of course, we're going to start off with my Midnight Suns. The only new figure I've added to the Midnight Suns collection, of course, is the Secret Wars symbiote suit Spider-Man. Really, really cool figure. I thought, like, aesthetically, it looked really, really good. Better than, I would say, the 90s Spider-Man series, Black Suit Spider-Man. I thought that just fit better, having kind of like, you know, him with sort of like the eyes look more expressive. So I was like, you know what, that would be really, really cool to add to the Midnight Suns. So that is the only figure that added that was new to the Midnight Suns. Going on to the Defenders, not much is new with my Defenders. It's been the same. I don't know if I'm ever going to get any other figures to add to the Defenders. Most of you guys are probably like, what's Quake doing here? But I was like, you know what, street level, I feel like Quake would be a part of the Defenders. Really, really cool. Now, this is a new shelf. This is a new shelf that I don't even think I started in my end of 2024 video. I'm very, very proud of this shelf, of course, with the Secret Wars Cap, the Secret Wars Iron Man, and also the, I think this is the retro carded Black Widow, and I got another Black Panther because, as you can see, I have the Black Panther that was at Ollie's. This is the Ollie's Black Panther. That is at pretty much every Ollie's. And I got another one because I wanted one in there and one here. So, of course, Black Panther is a part of that. And I just got, of course, the Warbird. I'm pretty sure I showed Warbird off in the end of 2024, but I'm not quite sure. But relatively, this is a new shelf. I'm pretty sure I did not have this shelf at the end of 2024 video. But like I said, the new ones that I am pointing out here that I know for sure is the Secret Wars Cap, Secret Wars Iron Man, and the retro carded Black Widow. I'm pretty sure I showed off Warbird last time, but I'm going to say Warbird is the second newest figure, but this is a new shelf. I'm very, very proud of this, and I'm going to be adding, of course, the Hawkeye on the bike. I'm going to be getting eventually a Vision, a Wanda, and I also want to get a nice looking Ant-Man and also Wasp. Have not been able to find a good Wasp. If you guys know a good place to find a good Wasp, let me know. Now, going on to, of course, my Spider-Verse shelf. The figures that are new here, of course, is Pavitra Parker, of course, Spider-India, and Spider-Punk. I'm pretty sure those are the only new ones here on this shelf because I've shown all the other ones off before. I think those are the only 2 new figures I've gotten here. More Spider-Man figures to come, of course, when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out. There's going to be new characters they'll probably show. So expect this shelf to be, you know, growing more. And if I ever find any other, like, Spider-Man figures, they're most likely going to go here. Of course, this is new. This is very new. I kind of just started this today before I recorded this video. This is going to be like my SH/Mafex figure shelf. Probably for my Spider-Man figures if I end up getting any more Spider-Man figures, but also not even just Spider-Man, but just like kind of like a miscellaneous. So this sort of like be like where my you know, SH and Mafex go. Might make it like if I get more Mafex or SH figure arts, Spider-Man, I'm going to put them here, or it might just be miscellaneous. I have another figure on the way. I'm not going to tell you what figure it is, but expect me to post it to my community tab tomorrow, very early in the morning. When this video drops, that post will be up. Keep a lookout. It is in Mafex figure, and it's the one I've been looking forward to the most. Okay, now going on to my Spider-Man 90s series shelf, the only figure that is new here, of course, is the Agent Venom, a part of the retro card wave. I'm very, very glad I got this figure, and I want to say also Chameleon is new, so scratch that. I have 2 new figures here on the shelf that I have not shown off yet, and I really like that Agent Venom. And this, of course, as you can see, it's not the Flash Thompson head that you know looks a lot older. This Flash Thompson head, of course, is a part of the 2-pack with Vulture. How, you know, he came with Vulture and Spider-Man, how he came with the Flash Thompson head. I wanted it to be kind of like a lot more accurate. So I was like, you know, it would be really, really cool to put the Agent Venom here and put that Flash Thompson head a part of this, Vulture and Spider-Man 2-pack. Let's put him right there. So that's what I did, because I wasn't a huge fan of the older head version of Flash Thompson. He looked very, very old, and I was like, you know what? It would be even cooler if the head actually isn't too big for the body for the Agent Venom, and it turned out very, very well. Like, it looks really, really great. So I'm very, very happy I like came up with the idea to do that. I thought that was pretty cool. Now going on to here, this of course is my Spider-Man 2 PS5 shelf. This is kind of like my Venom right now until I get the Gamerverse Venom from Marvel Spider-Man 2. And Null is going to stay here. I feel like it just makes sense, especially after kind of like the Spider-Man 2 storyline where like the symbiotes were, you know, introduced. The kind of like the build up to Null was introduced. So I was like, you know what, Null's going to stay here, but when I get my Gamerverse Kingpin, Black Cat, and my Gamerverse Venom, they are all going to go in here. I'm really, really hoping that Gamerverse Venom fits in here, because I want to say that thing is like, I forget how tall it is. I'm a little bit worried it's not going to fit in the shelf. If it doesn't fit, I'm going to be moving and having to do more rearranging. But in the meantime, this is kind of like, I wouldn't say that this is new, but this might be new. I think I relatively just did this, so I'm going to call this new. I think this is a new shelf because these two figures here are new, but these ones aren't. But them all together in the shelf is new. So the Null and of course the Venom they were a part of a 2-pack. Those are new figures. These 2 figures aren't. They used to be in the Spider-Verse shelf with all the other Spider-Man figures at one point. So this is a new shelf, but these are the only 2 new figures. Really, really cool. Now, these 2 figures aren't new, but these 2 back figures are new. I believe I did show the Red Hulk in my end of 2024. I don't remember showing off my Dark Avengers, I guess Moonstone, like Warbird / Moonstone, or Moonstone / Warbird. So these 2 figures aren't new. Of course, this is the retro carded 90s Spider-Man, Black Suit Spider-Man. Of course, I used to have the US Agent. I used to have him a part of like my villains collection, but I started to build the Dark Avengers, or my version of like the Thunderbolts / Dark Avengers. I really do like the idea of having Red Hulk, US Agent, technically this is Scorpion, not Black Suit Spider-Man, but like Scorpion pretending to be Spider-Man, of course. So that's technically Scorpion, our stand-in for that, that look for Scorpion. And of course, then we have, Moonstone pretending to be Carol Danvers. So that's really, really cool. This shelf is new, but the only 2 figures that are new here, I would say, that I did not show was, of course, Dark Avengers, Warbird / Moonstone. Really, really cool figure. I like that figure a lot, and I like the shelf. More to come. I'm actually looking at purchasing the Daken figure, and also I know where Marvel Boy is. They actually have him at an Ollie's near me, so I'm planning on getting Marvel Boy at some point probably, and also that Daken at some point. So this shelf is going to keep growing, and eventually I want to get a Sentry. I know Sentry, you can get one on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure you can also get one on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm going to be getting those pretty soon, because I have an idea in my head of like the ones that I need. So there will be more updates to this coming soon. Going on now down below, this is kind of like my villains, Marvel villain shelf, slash kind of like, mainly the Avengers villains. I really wouldn't call the Destroyer an Avengers villain, but I was like, Thor's up here, so I guess it just makes sense to kind of have the Destroyer here. So this is a fairly new shelf. I don't remember showing this off at the end of 2024. Maybe I did. Like I said, have not watched that video in a minute, so I'm kind of just spitballing on the ones I think that are new. I'm pretty sure, from my recollection, the only figure that is new here, if I had to say that was new, is probably the Beyonder. And also, I want to say I showed Ultron off last time, so I'm just going to say Beyonder. I don't know if I had Ultron on the shelf in my last video of last year. Guys, we're now going to go on to the second comic shelf. We are going to start on my X-Men shelf. This is the one I am the most proud of, is my X-Men shelf. There's been a lot of changes that have happened to my X-Men shelf. Very, very proud of this shelf. As you can see, there's a lot of going on here that I'm very, very proud of. There's a lot of old figures that you guys saw here. This is mainly my X-Men 97 stuff, if I do have to say so myself. Like, there's a mixed match of characters. There's a lot of actual X-Men 97 figures that you've seen here in past shelf tour videos, and there's a lot of new figures that you could see here. You guys can actually, like, I'll point them out to you, but before I do that, I'm curious to know if you guys can point out which ones that are new that you can see here, if you could point any of them out. But we're going to be starting off over here. The Jubilee, Storm, and Forge, that was a part of the Uncanny 3-pack. I just got that this year. Very, very glad. And I was like, you know what? Since we had Forge in X-Men 97, I was like, you know, it makes sense to kind of, you know, move the 97 Storm somewhere else and kind of put this Storm here and this Jubilee here until they come out with the X-Men 97 Jubilee and then X-Men 97 Forge, if he looks, because I can't remember or not if he wore this suit in X-Men 97. I think he did. I can't remember. It's been a minute since I watched X-Men 97. But once we get a Jubilee figure, then I will move this Jubilee somewhere else and I will put the other Storm back. But in the meantime, that Jubilee and that Storm are going to stay here with Forge until we get some new ones for X-Men 97. The other new figure that is new here, of course, is my Professor X. As you can see, this Professor X, of course, is the Savage Land Professor X. He actually did not come with that chair. That was that was the other Professor X. He is somewhere else on my shelf, and I'll get to that. But I thought this Savage Land Professor X looked a lot better than the one that came with the chair because he had pins on him. I thought, you know, the paint apps on the figure weren't the best. It definitely looked like an older Marvel Legends, and this one I think has a better Cerebro helmet. Looks more like the X-Men 97, you know, Professor X, and of course Charles Xavier actually wore that in X-Men 97. So I was like, you know what, it fits really, really well. Let me put that figure there. But other than that, that's pretty much all that's new here with my X-Men 97 shelf. So yeah, let's go on to the next one real quick, which is right here. We're going to be going on to the Fantastic Four shelf. Not much has changed here. I've had the Doom. I've had the Silver Surfer. I showed those off in the last tour. The only things that are new here, of course, is Adam Warlock. That is the only figure that is new on the shelf. I put Adam Warlock here because this is kind of like my cosmic shelf, so Adam Warlock had to go here. I thought it was really, really cool. Of course, with the mini comic, really, really cool. As you guys know already, if you have been here a part of the channel, I just did an unboxing for that figure here over on the channel. If you guys want to go check it out, he is a really, really dope looking figure. I love that figure, and the mini comic actually stands up pretty well right up against his leg. It hasn't fallen over yet, and that's how I wanted to pose him. He's holding, of course, his staff. Has the Infinity Gauntlet, really, really dope, right next to the Fantastic Four. Really dope. But now going on to my X-Men Shelf 2. So, of course, I am building up a new X-Men shelf, of course, with a, was it a Magic? That figure is new. I love that Magic figure. Of course, we have, I forget what version of Wolverine this is, but of course, it was a part of the, what was the wave? It was the it's gonna kill me. I don't know. But that figure is new, and that figure is a part, of course, with this new Cyclops. I love this new Cyclops. Really, really dope. This is the X Factor Cyclops. I want to say that this is like the, I forget what version of Wolverine that is. You guys are gonna have to let me know. But these all these figures in here are new except the Storm. That's the X-Men 97 Storm. But like I said, once I got that, it kind of fit tonally better. So I was like, let me move her down in this kind of mixture of X-Men. Of course, this is the same Professor X that, you know, came with the hover chair. So like, I think it was like the 80th or 100th anniversary. I think it was the like Marvel Comic 80 years or Marvel Comic 100 years. I can't remember. I think it was 80 years. The re-release with the hover chair. So he's down here until I get another chair for him. Of course, X-Factor Cyclops, Apocalypse, Days of Apocalypse, you know, Gambit, really, really cool. We have, I think it's, what version of Nightcrawler is that? I think it's X-Force Nightcrawler? I don't know. I can't, or I forget which version of Nightcrawler that is. Sorry guys, like I said, it's been a minute. On the top of my head, I can't think, but all, like, the only things that are new here, like I said, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them are new except Storm. So really, really proud of this shelf, and I love this Cyclops. Like I said, I love this new accessory, you know, beam for Cyclops. Really, really dope. I hope they do that going forward with Cyclops figures. I really, really like it. Going on to the next shelf, of course, is my Iron Man shelf. I'm planning on getting some more Iron Man comic figs at some point, but in the meantime, you know, I really like what I have because these are the standout suits that I really like from the, you know, Marvel Comics and just from cartoons and stuff like that. And you know what? Ironheart is coming out, I want to say in June, because we're not in May yet, so it comes out, I believe, in June or July. So I was like, you know what? It makes sense to, you know, get an Ironheart figure, and I actually came across this Ironheart figure the same place that I came across this 3-pack at the comic book shop, the X-Men, you know, Uncanny X-Men 3-pack. So I was like, you know, it'd be really, really cool to get this, you know, Riri Williams Ironheart. I thought it was really, really cool, and I just like the comic version of Ironheart. I think she looks really, really dope. Cool suit, and she's holding her helmet, so I like that. So these other two figures are old, but that one is new right here. Now, going on to my Wolverine shelf, I want to say the only one that's new here, I know for sure, is this Secret Wars Wolverine. I'm pretty sure I showed him at the end of 2024 video, though. I'm pretty sure I showed him. Not much has changed here, besides maybe kind of like the layout of the way they're standing. Nothing has changed here. Of course, this is my miscellaneous, you know, for my What If figures, and also my, I forget which version of Cyclops that is, but looks really, really cool. So it's kind of like my miscellaneous shelf. Of course, we have Captain America over here. He's not new. He's just by himself. Red Hulk used to be there. I think if you go back in my last shelf tour video, you will see that Red Hulk used to be here. So that's pretty cool. Going down below, which I'm going to try to get the lighting right. I don't know why it's acting up. Okay, there we go. We have, of course, Titania and She-Hulk. She-Hulk is new, and so is Titania. These were not shown in the last shelf tour video, so these are new. More Hulk figures will go here. Titania is going to be staying there because, of course, she is a She-Hulk villain, and I'm planning on having the villains and Hulks on the shelf, so eventually that will keep building up. I'm actually thinking about looking for a... what is it? I'm trying to think. The leader. I'm thinking about looking for a leader figure and putting the leader in here. I think that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. If should I get a leader figure for my Hulk shelf? Let me know. And now the last thing we're going to be talking about, of course, is my X-Men villain shelf. As you can see, I don't have much here. I just have, of course, Sabretooth, and I have a Sentinel. I have my eyes on getting, you know, the X-Men 97 Sentinels. I actually know a place that is selling them right now, so I'm actually thinking about picking those up. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Might get some more Sentinels in here. And I also might just get some more X-Men villains to put in here. Like I'm eventually I want to get a, you know, an Apocalypse figure. Eventually I want to get a, Sinister figure. So I'm planning on getting some other X-Men figures, but as of right now, this is kind of like what I have, and these aren't even new. These were all at one point in my, they were in my just villains shelf, my Marvel villain shelf. But this is kind of the first time you guys are just seeing it like this with just these two here. Because initially Magneto was here, but I did move him up to the X-Men 97 shelf. So he was down here. You guys aren't, you know, tripping. He was down here at one point, or in with the Sabretooth and Sentinel, but I moved him up here because it just made sense, because when he wears that outfit, he's not really a villain anymore. So I thought it'd just be cool to bring him up. Eventually, I would like to get the classic looking Magneto from X-Men 97 and putting him down here. I know that figure is actually pretty expensive, so I don't know. Eventually, I hope to get him. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much all of the new figures right here. I'm gonna kind of do a back view so you guys can kind of see them all together. There we go. I just want to get a focus in. So yeah, look at all these figures. Like I said, I've collected a lot since the end of 2024, since my last shelf tour video. So I just want to say thank you for everybody, watching this video. Very, very much appreciated. And yeah, like I said, if you are new, subscribe to the channel, put in those notifications, and like this video. It'd be really, really much appreciated. But like I said, guys, stay tuned for that new community tab post tomorrow. Kind of showcasing a Mafex figure that is very, very sought after. And pretty much people say that the Mafex figure I'm talking about is that once you get that figure, there is no better figure than that figure. That's how good it is. People are saying is that once you get this figure, that's the pinnacle of that character, that's the pinnacle figure of that character. And people are saying that there's going to be no better Mafex or Marvel Legends that could compare to that Mafex figure. So I'm very, very excited to get it. It was pricey. I'm actually curious to know if you guys can actually point out the figure I'm actually talking about. I'm actually curious if you guys can actually point it out or know what figure I'm talking about. I'm actually curious. But like I said, subscribe, like this video, because it helps me out tremendously when you guys like these videos. Helps build up in the algorithm. And right now I'm trying to hit the goal of hitting 1,200. We are close. We're at 1,000 and I want to say 70 or 76. We are close to hitting 1,200. Like I said, we just need a few more likes, few more follows, or subscribers, and we will get there. So like I said, like this video so more people see these videos. And just like I said, stay tuned for more Marvel Legends unboxings, more Marvel Legends shelf tour videos. They are going to be coming. Like I said, I have a lot of figures on pre-order, so just be patient. Things are coming. The shelves will probably look a lot more, full by the end of this year, because like I said, there's a lot of shelf space left. But I have a few cubbies that I have ideas for them for the figures that are going to be coming out at the end of this year. But like I said, guys, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.